Welcome to the show, welcome to the show. Here to give you knowledge that you didn't know. Put you on some game, now you got a buzz. You are now listening to Cannabruhz. Hey, 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 hey. Guess what? Guess who's back?
Yes, sir.
Guess who's back? Hey, look, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Anytime that you may be checking this out, welcome back to another episode of the Cannabruhz podcast. I am Jerell.
And I'm Corey.
And we are the
Cannabruhz.
Yep, you already know. So we are back with some new fresh perspective for you on the cannaverse topics, news that's going on, things that are going to impact you if you are with the movement or looking to be involved. We are, what do you call it? Edutainment. Would that be a good way to explain that?
I like that.
Yeah, that's all.
Edutainment.
Yeah, edutainment. So we want to give you a little, our little flavor on it, but we got to make sure we educate you. So that's just how that's gonna go, man. Hey, bro, how you feeling, man? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. It's another day. We're alive and blessed to be here to provide knowledge and assist all these other businesses, man. It fills my heart with joy just being able to assist and knowing that there's somebody out there that needs this information and that it can help them be successful in the future. So
yeah,
man, I'm great. I'm excited. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you, bro. Yeah, it's really dope, man. I mean, like, just Cannabruhz stuff in general, right? Like, so fun fact about it, man. We love doing this podcast. Like Corey mentioned, we have the opportunity to impact the game by looking to educate people so that they don't make costly mistakes.
Right.
Give them a leg up, when it comes to the topic of taxes and tax implications, as far as their decision making within the cannabis industry. And we cover cultivators, retailers, distributors. So we kind of do the whole nine, and we are from Harvest Accounting Firm. So when it comes to our business, we don't play. So we want to make sure that you are well versed as well when it comes to handling this stuff. You don't want to be out there making making blind choices,
rookie mistakes.
Rookie mistakes. You don't want to be out there making rookie mistakes. You might be 7 years in the game, but if you're doing it wrong, it looks like a rookie mistake on paper. Looks like a rookie mistake on paper. So we we here to go ahead and give you a little game. You know how this show goes. Okay, there are 3 different segments to the Cannabruhz podcast at all times, and they are.
So we're gonna start off first with Word on the Street. So what Word on the Street is just updates with news in the legislation, the cannaverse. We make sure that you hear it as soon as it comes out to make sure that you, as the cannabis CEO, the or soon to be cannabis CEO,
claim it,
are aware of the environment that you're stepping into.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so after a Word on the Street, we got to put you on game.
On game.
Yes, sir. So put you on game is a deep dive into the cannabis business, right? So we're taking it, breaking down different aspects of cannabis business to make sure, again, that it's helping you save money, make sure that you have the right systems in place and procedures, and just to make sure you have again, an overall understanding of how to approach certain things so that you're not getting penalized, or help you reduce the chance of a audit
Right.
in the next 3, 5, 10 years.
And the effects of an audit too,
Of course.
because we know it's coming. That's something that you have to understand, and we'll talk a lot about that in our different put you on games segments in each podcast. So you definitely got to understand that it's coming. So we're really trying to just alleviate the impact of the audits. So,
Yep.
and then of course
We got that plug talk.
that plug talk. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey. And so what plug talk is it's pretty much our shout out to the industry, man. It's we grab upcoming businesses, whether it be a cultivator, whether it be a retailer, and we promote their business. We check their entity out, or their whole structure, and we look at the services and products that they have, and show it to the world, because ultimately our goal is to be with you all from seed to success, right? So we
That's
want to
right.
make sure that we're there at the beginning, whenever you're started, or if you've been in the game for a while and you're turning your wheels and not getting anywhere. We want to be there at the start of the new journey, where we can help guide you into, so that your business can be as profitable as possible.
Yeah, man. You can't be. Listen, man. You just can't. We're part of the movement.
Right.
I think there's going to be a lot of accounting firms out there that hey, we're nearing federal legalization, whether you believe it or not.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And when that happens, there are going to be so many accounting firms that's looking to they're going to come knocking at your door, right? They're going to be looking to capitalize off of this new wave, right? But Harvest accounting firm, Cannabruhz, we are a part of the wave.
Yes, sir.
Understand
Yes,
that.
sir.
Yeah. Don't get it twisted. We are a part of the wave. Like, we are not, coming in the fourth quarter, looking to win the game. Like, that's just not how we're doing it. We with you. We're growing ourselves. We're harvesting with the movement. So we are understanding the everything about what the CEOs are going through now, and looking to do a little bit of forecasting to help them and plan out their future. Because when it's legalized, then all the opportunities are going to be open. There are going to be so many more opportunities to be open for cannabis to be treated like any other good product, like any other business or service, depending on your type of business that's out there, right? So all is really just about those regulations and everything being lifted, those hinges being loosened up a little bit, so that
Right.
the cannabis movement can actually move. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Right.
we are just here to make sure we're here to make sure that it's done from a real place. All right. So we are with the movement. We're with all of that. So make sure that whether you rock with Harvest Accounting Firm or you rock with another firm, trusted firm, maybe in your local area, make sure that this person or this team of accountants actually understand the game. All
Right.
right. So, and it's just like that, man. And that's how that's what it is. So we are going to kick it off with the first segment, of course, and that will be the word on the street. All right. And for word on the street, man, what we got?
We're going to start off with a post from Green Thumb Industries.
Okay.
So they're saying that the research from Clever Real Estate draws on data from Zillow, and it shows that a main takeaway from the census from 2017 and 2019 is that home values increased $6,338 more in states where cannabis is legal
Mm,
in some form compared to states that haven't legalized cannabis.
dang, that's crazy. Yeah, man. Man, the overall value of a home. Is that what that's saying?
Yeah, the home value, the overall uh price. Imagine if you purchased your house
Mm-hmm.
prior to your state legalizing cannabis medically or recreationally.
Mm-hmm.
From that point up until they did pass it, you're gonna on average see that increase
Yeah.
over those years.
Yeah, that's a good look right there, man.
Yeah,
That's what we're looking to
yeah,
do in Texas. Purchase these homes, pre, pre pre pre-accepted legislation or whatever for
right.
cannabis. So that is really dope. Hopefully we have that opportunity here coming up soon. So that's really dope, man. That's a big thing, man. And it's really all that's just basically saying to you is that cannabis brings opportunity. That should be understood, right? Like cannabis is opening up doors, man. We're talking about
Right.
more jobs, stimulating the economy, so many different like reasons why. I know I was going to go into it before about for something else, man, but um, Governor Greg Abbott. Nope, not gonna do it. Governor Greg Abbott was in Dallas recently,
Okay.
and he was kind of just speaking on. Really, he was speaking, and I think it was and I don't shoot me for this one, but I believe it was the maybe Asian business community or committee or something like that. But
Okay.
he was speaking. That's why he was here, or that's the event that he was speaking at, and he was just kind of touching on, of course, the pandemic
Mm-hmm.
crisis or whatever, the effects that's having on the state, any plans that they have for the near future and the present. And then he also was kind of hinting at the economy, the economic flourishing of the state of Texas
Right.
on a global scale. Um, and he just kind of mentioned, that how big Texas is on an economic level in the world,
Okay. How big?
So, and this is something I actually didn't know until I listened, but prior to the pandemic, we were apparently the 10th largest economy in the world, right? And
Dang.
it's yeah, the 10th largest economy in the world. I actually looked this up to kind of make sure, but this is just what he was saying. So hey,
Let's go Texas.
yeah, right. And then up to this point within the pandemic, because we're still in it, on this date, um, then up to this point in the pandemic, we are number 9. So if Texas was a country itself, it would be the 9th largest economy in the world. So we know that Texas is popping economically. All we know is, oh well, there's no state tax, and
Mm-hmm.
we're talking
Mm-hmm.
a lot of a lot of square footage.
Mm-hmm.
The state, it's
Mm-hmm.
a huge state, so it takes up a good little chunk of the South. And yeah, man, that's huge. You really think about it, but economically, the state is flourishing.
Right.
And he was just kind of mentioning that, and that was kind of pushing their decisions as far as why they were against, why at this time that they were against actually shutting everything down again. How I think he said that shutdowns are wrong, and whether you agree or not, we're kind of speaking from a business standpoint. From a business standpoint, that's a really good thing to be involved in, is business in Texas. So,
Right.
as and it's kind of pushing the envelope. The bigger that cannabis gets, the more appealing it becomes to Texas business owners.
Exactly.
Right? And people that are actually at the front of the line when it comes to pushing for a change in legislation, because if it's more friendly business wise, whatever, no matter what it is, it's going to be something that they're going to be looking to accept in the state of Texas. So that means Texas should be legalized sooner rather than later. Long story short.
And to add to that, I got two things. So this is coming from the cannabis community. Said
Mhm.
marijuana decriminalization took effect in Louisiana on August 1st.
Mm.
And advocates and lawmakers are working to ensure that residents know what they can and cannot do without going to jail under the new law. And so their governor, John Bell Edwards,
Mhm.
signed the legislation in June, and he emphasized that it's not a decision he took lightly, but recognized that criminalization has significant consequences on families and taxpayers. Now, the big question I'm sure everyone has is, all right, that's great and all, but how much cannabis can I have on me without getting penalized?
Honestly, right?
Right. So it says that the possession of up to 14 grams of cannabis is now punishable by $100 fine without the threat of jail time.
Okay.
And the governor has pushed back against the definition of the policy as quote unquote decriminalization, but that's how many of the advocates are defining it
Right,
as,
right,
because he's removing the threats of incarceration for the low level possession. So
right. That's pretty good, man. You
yeah,
talking about that's half an ounce, you still kind of safe. Or, up to half an ounce, as far as like you ain't got to worry about getting locked up. Mainly, a common person, who is, like your average person is not. They may have 14 grams or maybe over, but I'm talking just like a single person, not a group.
right,
Probably had probably, depending on the person at any time, um probably has less than that. So just receiving a fine is cool. Let me pay my fine, let me bounce. This does not have to be some big thing, and now I'm like losing my job because I had to be, because you guys took me to jail and messed up my day or whatever. Let me
right,
pay
right,
this fine, and keep it moving. No, that's dope. That's dope. I think that's the first step whenever you go into legalization. The decriminalization process should be set up. Like that should be set up so that there's an understanding. Okay, how much can I get away with? Like
right,
that
right.
has to be understood from the consumer standpoint. Yeah, for sure.
And so again, when you look at the landscape of everything, so now we got New Mexico to the west of Texas.
Right.
We got Oklahoma right above Texas,
Mm-hmm.
both legal recreationally for cannabis.
Yep.
Uh, and then you got Louisiana to the east,
Mm-hmm.
and they are now decriminalizing cannabis.
Yeah.
And then you have Mexico to the south,
Yep.
which has opened up the door for cannabis recently across the whole country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Texas it's it's a step forward definitely for Texas. Like it's putting a pressure on Texas. Like, hey, the surrounding states are here supporting it. So granted, as you said, Texas is currently, if it was its own country, the ninth what was the phrase?
Largest economy.
Ninth largest economy in the world, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So at the same time, I'm sure um, how stubborn us Texans are.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like, well, we're not gonna let y'all bully us
I
or
was gonna
peer
say the same
pressure
thing.
us.
I
And
was gonna say the same thing. That's a Texas mindset. Like
yeah,
if you ain't from Texas, then you don't understand that. But Texas is not, like, peer pressure is not a thing.
right, right. But the second thing that brings is, yesterday,
Yeah.
Texas courts overturned the ban on smokable hemp.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a step. It's a
it's
step. It's hemp, but it's smokable. It's a step.
it's a huge win for um, Texas economy,
Yeah. Yeah.
Texas hemp farmers, Texas retailers.
Mm-hmm.
So just a brief history on that. So in I believe 2019, the Texas State Health Department, trying to remember the acronym, but uh
Stay off my boy. Stay off my boy.
y'all know I'm bad with acronyms. I can't I try to remember them and I'll be replacing words. It's okay. Um so pretty much they wanted to ban the manufacturing and ban the sale of smokable hemp, right?
Mm-hmm.
And many of the or a few retailers, I think three to be specifically fought back, and
Mm.
a lot and they took it to court, and so it's been at a standstill pretty much. They decided to um uh let it put it on pause, I guess I should say, until they were able to figure out the next steps. And
Mm.
so again, that was 2019. So now we're in 2021, and they finally ruled in favor of the businesses,
That's
which
big.
is huge. So these first off, these three companies, shout out to you all, um, made history in Texas because smokable hemp economically is one has a the highest profit margin for hemp cultivators,
Right.
as well as for the retailers. So that's a big boost to their pockets, and that's going to further increase the revenue overall for Texas.
Dope. Dope.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah, that's huge. And then just a little country cousin, your little country cousin, smokable hemp, man. We just opening it up for marijuana to go ahead and slide on in there and be like, hey, what's going on, cousin? Oh, they letting you over here? Hey, I'm with him. You know,
Right, right,
and marijuana is next. Texas just gonna be heavy with regulation. So just be on the lookout for that. But it's a big thing. And I want to have the name of those businesses, but shout out to them though, right? Like shout out to them for pushing the envelope. I mean, let's be real, like I understand that Texas has a mindset of its own. So yes, Texas has a mindset of its own as far as being its own country. Literally, that's literally how Texans act. But they have that mindset of being their own country and everything. But you have to, look, a couple miles to the east, the north or whatever, the west, and see, hey, it's working for them economically, right? And I understand that they can't really teach Texas anything economically. If it's a boost to them, imagine what it would be to the Texas economy. So I think that's
right,
the way that it's being analyzed from a business standpoint and being looked at, man. I
right.
think that's it.
And to correct myself earlier, so it is the Texas Department of State Health Services.
There we go.
That that's the DSHS.
Mm-hmm.
And then the three bit or it's actually four businesses. So we have Crown Distributing,
Shout out to them.
and then we have a Dallas-based manufacturer, America Juice Company LLC,
Big clap, big claps.
and then we have an Austin-based retail store called Custom Botanical Dispensary LLC,
Yeah, let's go.
and an Austin-based manufacturer, 1937 Apothecary LLC.
Okay. Okay. Shout out to all of them. man, like big, 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 that is huge, man. And they were persistent, because I know I was seeing a lot of movement in 2020 and, as far as the legislation, and they didn't back down. They believe in what they're doing. And that's what it really takes. This entire movement doesn't move without the belief that it could be accomplished, right? Now you can't argue from a middle ground, right? Like you need to stand on what you believe in, so that's really dope. And most importantly, stand on what you believe in with your actions and not just with your words, so they were there, and thanks to them, we got that smokable hemp, man. So another step forward.
Now, of course, in any type of legislation or any type of ruling, there's ups and downs, right?
Of course.
That's it's politics, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So two of the four businesses
Mm-hmm.
were manufacturers. So American Juice Company and the apothecary. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, apothecary. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both manufacturers,
Right.
and so the fight was two fights on one front, and so the manufacturers are fighting to be able to produce the smokable hemp, and the retailers are trying to sell the smokable hemp. And I don't understand this, but for some reason, um, they being Texas Department of State Health and Services decided that the health the health regulator can enforce its ban on the production and processing of smokable forms of hemp.
Uh-huh.
But it can't prevent the sale or distribution of these products.
Makes no sense.
So yeah. So it's like, all right, so you can't we can't we're not gonna make it here. We're not gonna enable it. So we're not gonna allow people to produce it and manufacture other products. But if you happen to come from any other state and you just so happen to have it on you, you can smoke it.
You can smoke it. Like what? So what? Yeah, that doesn't really. I mean, yeah. So you benefit. It benefits the retailers, but doesn't necessarily benefit the manufacturers, which is why they're involved trying to move that along. Yeah, man, that doesn't make any sense, right? And we just got finished talking about Texas being about their economy, Texas being about that moolah, but the fact that they're like, we're gonna turn this down, but that clearly, trust me, that has to come from a business analysis as far as going into the overall cost that it takes to manufacture, or allow the gates to be removed to have people manufacture and process the smokable hemp in the state. There has to be a decision. They're thinking maybe the cost or what it costs the state or what the state's giving up, what the state is sacrificing to allow this process to happen in the state of Texas.
Right.
Versus just simply, hey, if you can make it wherever you make it, we're cool with selling. We have room for retailers, like, right. And maybe that's just a stance that Texas has taken on it. But I think as we move along, we will see Texas make room for the manufacturers, which is important. You want to do as much in-house as possible, right? That's business talk, right? You just want to be able to do as much as possible in-house, right? But it's kind of different. I get it.
Yep. But at the end of the day, it still is a step forward for Texas cannabis legalization.
Yep.
Good for the soul.
It's good for the soul. Good for your spirit. Let it happen.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what we got today, man. That's what the word on the street. That's a lot of word.
That is the word on the street for today.
That's the word.
It was primarily Texas and Louisiana focused today, but you know, with Texas being the ninth
largest economy in the world.
Largest economy in the world.
It's almost so unbelievable. It's hard to let it stick to your
right,
memory.
right. I'm right. One thing I just remembered that we didn't mention is it's a win for distributors as well.
Facts.
So if you can export it into the state,
Facts.
to the retailers, that now we have interstate commerce for hemp.
Yeah.
As long as, you know, the legislation lines up per state.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's true. That's opening it up. You know, something that we've kind of mentioned on other Cannabruhz episodes is how there has been just that issue, right? Like we go to a lot of these different businesses and they're doing great e-commerce wise, but you know, it has that clear bubble on it, right? So they can't really, we can't ship it to you. Like that's not an option. You know, we can't ship it to you. We can't, you know, put it on a truck and drive it to you. You can't do anything. You have to be within the state to be able to take advantage of this stuff, right? So at least on the smokable hemp side now, you know, you can take advantage from the distribution standpoint. The transportation standpoint is what we mean. So that's really dope. You're right, though. We didn't mention the fact that it does positively impact the distributors as well as the retailers. So only people that are kind of left out standing outside the club is the cultivators. So
the manufacturers.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the manufacturers. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We can still sell it to the retailer. But so like you imagine you're on a hemp farm and some of your raw materials, that's what you want to sell to the retailer. You can either export it out, the hemp, have it manufactured somewhere else,
and then send it back.
And send it back.
That's crazy.
Sale. Or I mean, send it straight to the retailer and sell it. Let the raw.
Yeah. See what my confusion is? Because the confusion about that is, and it's something I just have to read up on more, is like, wouldn't that be more of a cost to the cultivators, right? That's going to be a hit out of their pockets. Like that's why I say, you know, it's kind of not as positive for the cultivators, right? Because it still is going to cost you to send that product, the raw product, raw hemp, out to where it's legal to manufacture, which I know, you know, Texas and Oklahoma have that understanding. Texas and Louisiana have a pact. I get that part. But yeah, man,
and New Mexico,
that's a fact. You know, there's definitely connections there. But yeah, that's gonna make it tougher. That's more cost that they're gonna accrue, and then it has to come back. Which, yeah, man, that's
so it doesn't necessarily have to come back.
Yeah, that's true. If you send it where it's legal and you can just leave it there, sell it off at point A. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The big thing is that profit margin, right? So if the raw hemp that they would sell, because it's always going to be raw hemp from a cultivator, because they are not the manufacturer,
right.
So the cultivator doesn't care, and because their part is done. They don't care about that additional expense, because another another company steps in. So if we do it like a flow chart, right?
Yeah.
So from seed to sale, right? So cultivator being the seed, and they grow it, harvest it, and everything,
Right.
package it right, raw.
Right.
Then a manufacturer from out of state is probably going to incur that cost of shipping it, or
Mm,
you see what I'm saying? Like that,
yeah.
or they'll share the cost, or however they do
Maybe,
that.
yeah, depending on negotiation. How
Right.
you
And
work
then
that out.
that manufacturer, so you get the distributor taking it to the manufacturer, however they do that. The
Mm-hmm.
manufacturer, I guess out of state, is going to do their thing, turn it into little pre-rolls, or however they want to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the retailer, um will, I'm sure they'll add that cost. They'll probably add that cost onto the price
Right.
to cover down on the shipping, the extra shipping fee,
Right.
or and whatever overage it incurs for having to export it a little bit further, you just write it off.
Include that, yeah, or include it in the price. You're right.
Yeah, right. It's,
Yeah.
it's both. It's both.
Yeah.
You're gonna write it off and include it in the price.
Facts. Facts.
So yeah, yeah,
Very good point, man. It's a very good point, man. We all starting to win a little bit more.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. That's a perfect breakdown of that right there. So man, I hope y'all got some game out of that, but that's where we are. Speaking of game,
Oh, it's about that time, huh? It's about that time.
let's go.
It's time to put you on game.
Game.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What we got for put you on game today?
So we've been getting a lot of questions, and I know a lot of cannabis CEOs have asked their lawyers and asked their accountants, uh, what kind of entity should I start? You know, I, I
Yep.
want to get into the cannabis industry,
Yep.
but I don't know, like, how should I set it up? How should I uh start my, or what kind of entity should I start my business as, to make the most money and limit the most liability?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so we're gonna talk about that today. Entity, issue, startups.
Let's go. Let's go. So I think the first thing that we got to go ahead and lay out for the people, man, is that when it comes to this, we are not attorneys. All
No,
right.
sir.
We are not attorneys. Okay. So you need to make sure you have a good corporate and tax attorney to kind of help you. I just believe from the financial service provider standpoint, from the accountant chair, that we should be involved, because what we do is we can help you understand how what tax implications there are, and kind of look at your end goal, kind of where you want to go with everything, as far as your entity, because that will ultimately help you decide which entity you go with. Now,
Right.
your attorney in this field should definitely be well versed enough to know a little something about the tax side, but they are not tax people, just how like we are not attorneys, right? So they can tell you about the law, and tell you about cannabis law and things like that, and then understand like the corporate tax side and all of that, right, between those two. But we're here to kind of have our input, just kind of let us be involved as accountants, and then let them be the actual legal aid that you need to make that decision.
Right. Right. Exactly. Um, and to answer the question that many CEOs have, what kind of entity should I start for my business?
Mm.
Well, the answer is There's no solid answer for that question. It all
Right.
depends. There's no one size fits all answer that uh, benefits every corporation, and
Right. Right.
um, um, so there's a lot of different questions that have to be answered before we can even consider giving any type of feedback, or your attorney um, can give feedback on the entities.
Okay.
So
Okay. So there's questions that have to be answered. Okay. So um like what kind of questions should we be asking ourselves if I'm an early ganjapreneur
okay,
trying to decide. I just want to get involved in the industry. I
right,
have
right,
an
right,
idea as far as the actual business that I want to run, but entity, I'm not familiar with that. So, like, how do I determine what entity? What questions exactly should I be asking myself when I create a checklist of some sort?
right. And there's a few questions. There's quite a few questions you just want to make sure that you're answering and thinking of, like how many owners um, are you starting the company with, right? So are you
Okay. Okay.
is it is it individuals? Like, do you have three guys coming together saying, "Hey, this is our dream goal. We want to make that happen," or
Mm-hmm.
are those three guys backed by companies? So three companies coming together
Mm-hmm.
to form one giant company,
Mm.
or are they looking to uh, get capital investors later to join as partners?
Mm. Okay.
So that one right there, it depends on what your intent is overall.
Okay. Well, and as far as my intent, like, why does my intent and by intent, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is that just like
Okay.
the goal, or like what do you mean by my intent? How can I be different from my partner?
Right.
In what
So
ways?
it depends on your role in the company, right?
Okay.
So in the company, um, you could be the boots on ground person doing the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then your partner could be a billionaire that's funding the whole project, right?
Got it. Got it.
And, and so the focus for both of you may be different. Your focus may be like, let's minimize the amount we have to pay in taxes over the year. And so
Right.
that's all that you're trying to do is tax planning. But
Mm.
the billionaire doesn't care about taxes as much versus protecting his investment, right?
Mm. I got you.
Protecting the assets that he provided to ensure that this operation is a success.
Right.
Um, that's that's
He's trying to avoid that the collateral damage.
exactly,
Right. Right.
exactly. If he put in $50 million worth of partnership equity into this,
Mm.
or capital,
Right.
that's what he cares about. He's not necessarily concerned about um, the tax bill at the end of the year,
Right. Or may not be. Yeah.
or it may not be. Correct, correct,
Right.
correct.
Right.
That might
Yeah.
not be his primary concern.
Right. I got you.
Right, right.
Okay. 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 So got that. What's something else I should be asking myself if I'm trying to get into the game?
Well, similar to what we just spoke about is, are you raising capital? Right?
Mm.
Uh, are you going to try and bootstrap it? Are you going to try and find investors?
Uh-huh.
Um, or do you have enough cash flow to make it happen on your own?
Right. Which is extremely expensive. You know what I mean? Like
Right, right.
extremely from any of the three facets is extremely expensive. So yeah, that makes sense. You imagine trying to have the funds necessary to begin cultivation, right?
Right.
Like what kind of
Right.
facility do you have, not before you even get to the cost of materials and supplies. Just like imagine trying to, you got to think the license, how much are you paying for the land, right? Like is that a lease or what, right? So how much is actually going into the area that you'll be producing or cultivating, you know,
Right.
the product. That's true. Yeah.
And then you got to think about your exit, right? So what's the exit strategy? Are you planning on selling it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to um, set the business up so in 5 to 10 years you want to sell it,
Mm.
or are you trying to make this a family business where you just pass it down from generation to generation to generation? Like what
Right. Right.
it depends on your intent
Mm.
or your exit, your intent for your exit.
Right. Dang. It's a good point, right?
Yeah.
Because I guess that would mean like you might be willing to take some higher tax rates in the beginning, maybe.
Right,
Right.
right,
Like if you're thinking long game, if you're like, okay, let me go ahead and take the hit now, try to figure this out. So I'm fine claiming to be this entity right
right,
now if it's going to help my grandchildren, right? If it's going to help
right,
my daughter, when she takes the throne, from me and I'm either retired or dead and gone, right? It's like,
right,
what is there for her to deal with? I want to, try to alleviate that pain point of her being the owner of the company or at the helm of the company. So yeah, I get
right,
that. I understand that. Okay.
right, right.
Okay, what else as far as questions should I be asking myself if I'm trying to decide what entity?
So a few more questions like, can you fund your tax bill without distributions, right? So
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a question I'll have. Okay. Yeah.
many companies the and depending on how your company is set up,
Mm-hmm.
some will have distributions where they'll say, okay, well, over uh based off our net income, we'll pay out 25% to ensure that you have income to pay your personal tax bill. But
Right.
um, if there's no distributions coming out, or I mean, it really, the distributions really depend on the entity type, because um, one, as a person, as a individual, may not have to pay distributions, but the corporation may pay distributions, or it could pass down to you in other scenarios where
Mm,
your job, you have to pay for it.
right.
And if it's passing through to you and there's no distributions set up in your operations agreement, then you could be stuck trying to or having to pay out of pocket versus uh, paying off of what you received from the company.
Right. Understood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that's a good point, and that makes sense.
But one more question, real quick, that you need to make sure you ask, and you want to look into right before you decide your option, or decide which option, is the tax rate, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the tax rate, because prior, it all depends on what president is in and what their goal is on the tax side. So uh,
Like
prior to
who they're trying to give relief to,
uh,
whether it's business owners or what.
right, right. So like corporate taxes used to be 35%,
Right.
and now it's 21%. So now it's like, all right, so that the amount that you're being taxed may be
Mm,
more beneficial for a corporation now versus before. And then the current president, President Biden, is talking about raising the corporation tax again. So
mm,
uh, it could deter you from using a C corp at that point in time.
okay. Okay.
So you have to make sure you stay on top of that.
Okay.
But to answer your question, so the main type of entities that we see, and again, of course, you want to make sure you're talking with your lawyer, your attorney, or your corporate attorney or tax
Yeah.
attorney at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Is so we got C corps. We see a lot of C corps,
Okay.
and we see a lot of LLCs.
Right. Exactly.
Um, Now the question is, um,
Can
which
can you
one?
can I do both?
Right, you you can, but again, and I'm gonna keep saying it's not a one size fits all
Okay.
um outfit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh it, it depends, because you may have you may be a that billionaire, or you may have a lot of assets in
Mm-hmm.
real estate, and you might want to break that up. Like, you may want to have an entity for your land, or the real estate that is everything is sitting on,
Mm-hmm.
because it may be worth $50 million or however much.
Mm-hmm.
And then you may have all your equipment under a different, let's say, another C corp or LLC, and then you may just have the actual business set up in a different entity as well. So that's three different entities,
Mm-hmm.
and your lawyer may tell you, your attorney may tell you, that's the best way to mitigate risk, is just to separate everything out. You need to have seven entities, and that way, if anything happens and something gets shut down, then your other entities are safe,
Right.
right?
I was about to ask that. Um, so I guess a benefit of having a multiple business entity strategy is like, am I protecting it in the event that I've set it up in different physical locations? So every business kind of operates as its own with its own assets. Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Right, right. So exactly. And the downside to that is it costs a lot more money to do that.
I would
Like,
assume so.
if you, instead of having one entity, let's say you have five, well,
Mm-hmm.
you still got to have first you got to set all five of those up, right? And
Right.
so
Right.
that's more money you're having to pay the attorneys. And then
Yeah.
secondly, you have to keep books, uh, and you're gonna have uh, all your books, all your finances, accounting for each one, and you're gonna be taxed on each one separately. And so your accountant, um, and/or whoever's helping you, bookkeeper, is going to charge you more money to manage all of these different entities.
Mm,
Um, and on top of that, one thing that you don't want to do is, you don't want to set up five entities as like shell corporations,
got it.
where you're just looking to minimize your tax burden.
Mm,
Um, your entities have to serve a real purpose. Otherwise, the IRS isn't going to recognize it as a valid entity, and it's going to roll everything together. And you could potentially be putting your assets and business uh, at a higher risk than you would have if you wouldn't have done that.
yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
got it. So that's on the multi-entity side. You mentioned before that the two most common entities that you see in this business is C corps or LLCs.
Right. Right. Right.
Can you help the CEOs actually make a decision as far as what uh, entities, like what is included, what are the benefits of the C corp, and what are the benefits of the LLC in this situation?
Yeah, yeah, and I'll break it down real quick, not to make it too complicated,
Okay.
um, but so it's easier in the C corp to raise capital, um, overall. It's more. For investors, is definitely a better look because there's more protection there.
Okay.
And the tax rate. So the tax rate is 21%. So like we talked about earlier. So
Mm.
uh, you could the there's it's double tax as a corporation. So you have the corporation as a whole
Mm-hmm.
paying 21%. And then
Right.
if there's any dividends or anything issued to the owner, then the owner will have to pay, the tax
On that.
on the dividends.
Okay.
But if let's say no dividends are distributed, then you're only just the corporation is paying this 21% tax and that's it. And that could be more beneficial to the owner versus um, it being distributed. Now, to each his own, right? You have to figure that out. You have to break down your financial picture to understand if why I should do this or why not, right? Um, and is again it's better for asset protection because there's that uh firm layer between um or separation between the entity and the individual, right? It's
Okay.
not
Okay.
the and I'll explain that a little bit more when we get to LLCs and partnerships. um and if the corporation is audited, it stays at the corporate level. They're not there's not a there's less a lot less risk of it piercing the corporate veil
Mm.
and hitting you personally as the business owner.
Mm. Yeah, man. Okay. I get
And
it.
then you're asking about LLCs and
Yeah.
partnerships.
Yeah.
Well, LLCs and partnerships are flow through entities, pass through entities. So the the income and expenses all pass down to the business owner, right? So that right there. So uh, if your business makes $200,000 and then
Mm-hmm.
minus expenses and everything, you have 120,000 left, which I know is not realistic, but I'm just using these numbers as an example.
Okay. Okay.
You have $120,000 left. Well, now you're going to be taxed on that $120,000,
Got it.
and that's saying that's if well, I said that, and that's if you're in a legal business, right? But we're talking about cannabis here.
Right. Right.
Um, so yeah. It you already can't write off the majority of your operating expenses right there,
Exactly.
and so that that liability and that uh the income and everything impacts you a little bit more in
Okay.
a flow through entity. And on top of that, so like a big thing that we see is, again, we were talking about operating agreements earlier,
Yeah.
is and this is where we come in as the accountant that we can assist you a little bit more, is if inside the operating agreement it's not showing any type of distribution percentage for yourself, right?
Mm.
um or you're saying that, hey, I didn't, when we were talking about it, it sounded good, but I didn't realize now that I'm a 30% owner that I lack control and I can't force distribution. So I'm having to pay out of pocket
Mm.
for everything. And that'll hit you a lot harder in the uh, on the LLC side. On top of, you may you may be responsible for 35 or you may be taxed at 35%. So
Mm.
if there's no distributions coming down and you're taxed at 35%, you're responsible for paying that out of pocket.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
again, since since it's a pass through, there's no double taxation. So you're not getting taxed at the corporate level and then taxed again once the distributions are paid out to you.
Okay, got you.
Right. So
Yeah,
that's yeah, I mean that's one of the big things, and there's a couple more I can touch real quick.
yeah,
Just to make sure that you have our CEOs out there have a solid understanding. But so as a LLC, you have the 199A deduction. So that's the qualified business income deduction. So you may be able to write off 20% of your qualified income
right,
or deductions, and that'll vary between partners whenever the K1s are distributed.
right,
Um, but it's LLCs aren't the best for asset protection because if especially if you're a single member, because on the tax side you're a disregarded entity. So a disregarded entity means there's no separation between um, yourself
personal.
and personal, right? Um, and so that it can impact you more, and so let's say there's a bankruptcy or the entity fails, um and it depletes all your assets for the business, and then
Right.
now they can come and hold you personally liable for the difference
Mm,
potentially, and you don't want that, of
no,
course.
of course not.
um so again, you want to make sure you're setting yourself up so that doesn't happen. Um and on top of the tax surviving
Hmm.
bankruptcy, if your business is audited as an LLC, it could potentially flow through to you. And so
Mm,
now, and so
sheesh.
if you don't want that audit of your business and personal at the same time, because
No,
that could be a a hefty penalty fee plus interest.
man.
Um, and then lastly, self-employment taxes, right?
Right.
So when you're as an LLC or as a partnership, uh, you're subject to self-employment taxes. So you're not subject to those same taxes as a C corporation. So yeah, and that's an overall breakdown of what to look at when it comes to the C corp and the LLC.
Yeah. You know what's funny, man? A lot of people wait. They make these decisions on their own. Then
Hmm.
they bring on their belt. And
Hmm.
we talk about the belt in a different episode. So if you haven't viewed that yet, um keep clicking.
We
But
we can bring it back up real
can,
quick.
can we bring that back up?
We can bring it back up. We can
Okay.
bring it back up.
So the belt, which is the acronym BAILT, spelled
Hmm.
like Bell T. So I know the first is the banker.
Hmm.
It's already tough enough for cannabis businesses to get banking. So understand what you're looking for, and simply just kind of do it in reverse. Figure out your pain points, figure out things that you're going to need or things that you don't want to happen, and which banking system and banker can actually help you with that. The second would be
Accountant. There we go. So the accountant, again, you want to make sure that you have your books and everything squared away, as we just talked about the implications of that. And then
I
the
would
I,
be the insurance.
the insurance. Yes,
Right. Yeah. So you
yes.
definitely have to all businesses have to be insured in general, but you want to make sure that you have the insurance that covers your specific niche in your industry and exactly what you plan on doing. It's going to be different from the cultivation and manufacturing side than it is from the retail side. So you just
Hmm.
have to make sure that you have the right insurance. Um, and after insurance, you would need
You'll need a lawyer,
mm,
which we already discussed,
right.
and then that T, The T is the technology guy. So
Technology.
your IT person, the person that helps you with your systems,
Right.
and overall that's the BAILT, BAILT,
Right.
banker, accountant, insurance, lawyer, and your technology
Technology
person.
person. Yep. Corey, I appreciate you giving that game. I
Of
appreciate you
course.
putting them on game today. So shout out to all of the ganjapreneurs, the cannabis CEOs out there that's getting ready to take over the world with their brand new idea and push the movement forward. So we thank you in advance, and we just wanted to give our 2 cents and give a helping hand to your whole operation and how you think about it and your thought process in it. So man, good looking out. Appreciate that. And I'll tell you thank you on behalf of the ganjapreneurs out there. So good looking out. All right. And then last but not least today, really quick, we want to go ahead and hit you with that plug talk.
Hey,
Plug talk. All right, man. So look, the first was at Instagram. The handle was True Growth, and True TRUE Grow GROWF. True Growth. So
okay.
True Growth is a herbal bar and shop. Okay. They're actually located in Suffolk, Virginia. Am I saying that right? You've been to Virginia.
Yeah, Suffolk.
Suffolk. Okay.
Suffolk.
Virginia, right? So they're out there. You can also reach them at truegrowth.com. I apologize.
True folk.
True
Country
folk.
folk.
Country folk. Truegrowth.com. So they're located at 201 East Washington Street in Suffolk, Virginia. Yeah, but they do handcrafted like fruit rolling papers and pre-rolls, right? Yeah, so actual like fruit that they turn into rolling paper.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Now, isn't that cool?
Yeah,
Right.
that's very unique.
It's very different.
Yep.
It's very unique, and I can see the reach. I think that's really dope. They also do like an in-house herbal smoke and tea blends. So they have their hand on a kind of a very unique to me, untouched. You don't really hear about this a lot. Outlook on those necessary cannabis adjacent accessories.
So this is True Growth.
Yeah.
Their Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Growth God Box. Okay.
Yeah, the Growth God Box. That seems pretty dope. 2 4-packs of specialty papers and 2 regular 4-pack tips / filters, right? And you get a t-shirt, get a glass puff bowl, get some herbal blends, some herbal pre-rolls. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, these are the fruit pre-rolls.
Yes. Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Mango.
that's fire, man. That is fire. And I see that they are Black female owned. So
wow.
that is really dope. This is a
Wow.
wild berry rolling papers, man.
Wow.
Yeah, we talk about adding that flavor on what.
Right.
Now this is by definition adding some flavor to the game. By definition.
Look how packed they are. There's a vibe in there. Everybody having a good time.
Yeah. That's what's up, man.
The DJ going.
Growth Puff and Mike. That's really dope. So yeah, man, if you happen to be out in the area out there in Suffolk, Virginia, or just nearby where you could stop by and show some love, definitely do that. Yeah, I like the vibe. I like how it's seemingly just all inclusive.
Right, right.
Man, and I love to see, it's really dope to see a young sister actually make it happen. So,
Right.
this is really dope. Shout out to True Growth out there once again at 201 East Washington Street in Suffolk, Virginia. So, man, yeah, that's dope. That's dope there. Yeah, man, out of nowhere, man. I just, want to go to an island or something. Like
Right.
out of nowhere, man. I just want to eat a bowl of fruit,
Feeling real tropical right now.
First, I don't know why. Yeah. Really dope. True Growth. And I
Yep.
gotta get used to saying that name, but
Growth.
man, I have a feeling that many people will be saying that name. They'll be saying that name in the near future, man. So y'all keep up the good work over there at True Growth.
Shout out.
All of Virginia people out there, man. Shout out to
Right.
y'all. Y'all keep pushing the movement. Hashtag support the movement. The next business on Plug Talk today
Okay.
is JTT Accessories. That's their handle on IG. JTT Accessories. They do have a website, jttip.com. Okay, just the tip accessories. Okay.
Okay. I was curious what JTT stood for.
That's what's up. JTT, justthetip.com. JTtip.com. Okay. Yeah, so they also make accessories as well. Something cool that they have, they're known for this thing called the chill stone.
Okay.
And so this is what I would call pandemic friendly. Okay. So so it's pandemic friendly. Let me tell you why. If you're in a smoke session, it's you, three of your good buddies, having a good old time and having some deep conversation. And you want to share in that pre-roll, right? Or that rolled up joint or whatnot. You can put that into this little, what they call it, chill stone, a tip or whatever, right? Like that way you don't have to put your mouth directly on that filter and that
Right.
end of that pre-roll, right? So you have one, right, smoking from the same pre-roll. You pass that to the next person, they put it in theirs, in their chill zone. You see what I'm saying? And so
Yep.
on, and it keeps going. So that's really dope. Seems cost efficient,
Right.
and then most importantly, pandemic proof is the
Right.
best way I could put that. Yeah, man. So that's a really seem like a really dope product, man. Really dope product. They also have some one hitters. One hitters are always pretty cool. But yeah, they have a podcast cast of their own as well.
Okay.
Ideas While High podcast,
Is
right?
it high ideas?
High ideas while high, right? Ideas
Yeah.
while high podcast. So you know how the Cannabruhz are, man. Show that love to them.
Of
Go
course.
check out, subscribe to their podcast as well. And it's just straight love from afar. We're yet to meet the people over there at JTT Accessories, but I just like the way it's put together. I
Of
like the
course.
way they're out there just getting to it. And another black woman owned company. So shout out to JTT Accessories. Check out that Ideas podcast. And you can also, other than Instagram, you can check them out at jttip.com. Just a tip.
Just the tip.
Just
Yeah,
a
man.
tip.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all the black women out there doing the big, just in general, but shout out to them for making moves in the cannabis industry. On top of us saying put more black and brown faces in green spaces. It's predominantly male dominated as well. So
it's a fact.
Double minorities inside of the cannabis industry. So, hey man, you got love from the Cannabruhz.
Yeah, I love from us to you. I wish you all the success in the business. And if you should ever need anything or a change of accounting environment, make sure you holler at us. You know, Cannabruhz, Harvest Accounting Firm, to make sure you're taken care of. As always, you guys are always invited as well. Reach out, you know, reach out. Let's link up. You know, let's do a mashup podcast episode possibly, right? Shout out to JTT Accessories once again. And this here has been another episode of Plug Talk. Hey. Yes, sir. So I just appreciate the ears one more time. We're trying to push forward the movement. We are trying to advance the movement. We are all for legislation, legalization, full legalization, and full decriminalization, including going back to expunge those records. Okay.
All right, man. Again, we greatly appreciate you taking the time to listen to the Cannabruhz, listen to our flavor on the accounting industry, the cannabis business industry.
For sure.
We appreciate the love 100%. So make sure you go out there, you like, subscribe, and share our content. Let other people know that we're here. We're here to stay. And we're here to educate all CEOs, future CEOs, cannabis CEOs, and just the connoisseur, the people that just love cannabis and love business, and put that thing together.
Yeah.
So again, hashtag from seed to success. We're gonna rock with you from the beginning to the end.
That's right.
Hashtag more black faces in green spaces. Hashtag more brown faces in green spaces. Hashtag more women in green spaces.
For sure.
We hadn't been saying that, man. We gotta hashtag more black women in green spaces.
Yes, sir.
And hashtag Harvest AF.
That's right.
And what's the AF stand for? About facts. Always about facts.
Harvest, always about facts.
So again, hashtag Harvest AF.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it.
And just like that, we out.
Bow. Hey.
Welcome to the show, welcome to the show. Here to give you knowledge that you didn't know. Put you on some game, now you got a buzz. You are now listening to Cannabruhz.